When we think of SCP Creatures, we usually expect to see something out of the ordinary. However, as we saw in part 1 of this video, looks can be deceptive, because in the SCP Wiki, something we normally perceive as innocent and harmless, children, can be just as dangerous as the famous SCP monsters we are all familiar with. You really liked the first SCP Children video, so as promised, here is part 2 of our top 5 SCP Children list. Number 5. SCP-040. Object Class Euclid. All children love playing with pets such as cats and dogs, but SCP-040 takes playing with pets one step further, thanks to her anomalous abilities. SCP-040 is an 8-year-old girl that is capable of manipulating living matter, modifying organisms and creating new ones. The girl is conscious of this effect and uses it willingly, but requires a lot of time and concentration. Her creations, called SCP-040-1, usually act similar to domesticated pets and are loyal to the girl. The appearance of 040-1 instances will vary. Some retain their original appearance, though the majority bear no resemblance. However, despite her potentially dangerous capabilities, the girl is cooperative and non-aggressive, and has thus been allowed to keep a few of her creations in containment. One of them is an organism capable of changing size, shape, and color that serves as the girl's outer clothing. The second one is a spherical organism capable of light that can also replicate a wide variety of musical patterns. And the third pet is a 4-legged organism covered in fur that can climb vertical surfaces. In an interview, the girl stated that before her containment, she was looked after by a man called Mr. Green, who claimed that the girl didn't have any parents. The girl also said that, quote-unquote, they were often looked after by nurses, implying that she may have been in some sort of facility. As we see, this interview raises a few questions. What did the girl mean with they? And were there more children in the facility with similar properties? And what kind of facility was she in? Unfortunately, the SCP-040 interview doesn't answer any of these, and we are left wondering if somewhere on Earth, or perhaps somewhere in an alternate dimension, an organization similar to the SCP Foundation exists that contains anomalous children. One thing is certain though, both SCP-040 and its properties are definitely interesting enough to earn it a spot amongst the best SCP children. Number 4. SCP-1076. Object Class Euclid. As we saw in part 1 of this video, children can have tremendous powers in the SCP Foundation. But some entries, like SCP-1076, go one step further and employ their innocent looks in order to deceive as many people as possible. SCP-1076 instances are children with an unwashed appearance and long hair, barefoot and dressed in ragged clothing. Furthermore, the kids show signs of malnutrition and physical abuse. They seem to comprehend simple statements but have not displayed any signs of verbal activity and instead communicate using mimics and grunts. Initial encounters with SCP-1076 occur when a parent discovers the child in a state of apparent distress. The parent reports an overwhelming feeling of pity for the specimen and takes it into their home, where SCP-1076 begins to monopolize the attention of the parents to the exclusion of their own children. The original kids begin to show signs of neglect and malnutrition. Behavioral problems such as truancy and depression become frequent, which often attracts the attention of school authorities or social welfare agents. Upon investigating, these authorities become obsessed with the welfare of SCP-1076 and ignore the actual children. An infestation usually ends with the parents or caretakers expiring as they neglect their own well-being in order to attend to SCP-1076, succumbing to starvation or disease. In the few cases where the Foundation was able to contain an infestation, subjects separated from the specimen became violent and demanded to be reunited with their baby. And finally, if two specimens of SCP-1076 meet, They will attack each other with great force until one of them dies. As we see, SCP-1076 very much reminds us of an animal that behaves in a similar way, the cuckoo. Cuckoos are parasite birds that lay their eggs in the nests of other birds after throwing the original eggs away. So it becomes evident that although being anomalous, SCP-1076 is inspired by nature. Only difference is that cuckoos only kill the bird's original eggs, whereas SCP-1076 instances kill every single parent they encounter. Number 3. SCP-134. Object Class Safe. As we've seen so far, not all SCP children have generic superpowers. And out of all these exceptions, SCP-134 is probably the entry with the most bizarre and mysterious properties. SCP-134 is a small girl that seems normal in most respects and has all the biological requirements of a human. However, where SCP-134's eyes should be are two black pits covered by a transparent membrane similar to a human eye's membrane. However, these membranes are about 200 times more resilient than they should be. In normal lighting conditions, the eyes appear completely black, but in darkness, faint lights have been seen within. Further study and light amplification revealed that the lights are actually stars and galaxies, though to date, no astronomical formations have been recognized. SCP-134's description contains a lot of redacted information. However, her eye sockets are called local termini, and the intergalactic space seen in her eyes is called remote termini, implying that her eyes may be some sort of wormhole to interstellar space. It is also stated that the remote termini periodically change location. Despite these astounding properties, SCP-134 is totally unaware of its unnatural condition. The only other abnormality is the fact that SCP-134 shows behavioral symptoms similar to these seen in high-functioning autistic children. The girl has been nicknamed Stella, which of course fits her description quite well, though for some reason, calling the girl by this nickname results in a reprimand. Unfortunately, SCP-134 hasn't volunteered any information regarding her identity and was recovered from an orphanage, so we can't learn anything about her origin from the caretakers. Regardless, this goes to show how bizarre the SCP world really is, because in the SCP Foundation, even a girl's eyes can be a wormhole to interstellar space. Number 2. SCP-706. Object Class Euclid. As we saw in part 1 of this video, not all SCP children are fortunate enough to possess stereotypical superpowers. SCP-706 is a part of that group, the SCP children whose abilities can best be called an affliction, not a gift. 706 is a little girl whose skin is comprised of porcelain, with the exception of small areas around its joints. This layer is fragile due to its thickness and can crack or break when impacted, or even with excessive movement. SCP-706 is capable of regenerating this skin layer at a rate consistent with normal skin growth. However, in order to regenerate skin, SCP-706 must consume ceramic materials. Also, 706 will compulsively maintain its appearance, typically involving looking at itself in mirrors and using makeup to adjust its looks. And if denied the opportunity to inspect and adjust its appearance, SCP-706 will become distressed and incooperative. The girl was recovered from a household after reports of domestic violence. A camera within the residence recorded audio of the incident, revealing that the girl's father came home drunk and aggressive. He was upset with SCP-706 and her mother, which led to a dispute, and eventually, a gun was pulled out and gunshots were heard. Of course, SCP-706 was interviewed to understand how she gained her anomalous properties. The girl claims it all started with her mother's doll collection, which the mother apparently loved. The girl says she wanted to be like the dolls because she wanted her mother to love her just as much as she loved the doll collection. SCP-706 also states that the dolls don't cry and don't need to be taken care of, and if she was like a doll, then her parents wouldn't have to fight anymore. And to top things off, since her containment, SCP-706 has become increasingly detached and unresponsive to personnel. As we see, the fact that SCP-706 is made of porcelain and can easily break her skin, and the fact that the girl is mentally broken as a result of the domestic violence seem to match quite well. This beautiful metaphor certainly earns SCP-706 a place amongst the best children SCPs in the Foundation. Number 1. SCP-3293. Object Class Neutralized. In part 1 of this video, we explored SCP-191, a very tragic SCP. And although very interesting, the story of SCP-3293 is unfortunately also very tragic. 3293 was a little boy whose anomalous effects manifested in its ability to create complex machinery and technology out of mundane objects. The boy did not perceive its abilities as anomalous and had a limited understanding of actual science. Instead, SCP-3293 manifested objects by simply imagining them, turning wild ideas into reality. As a result, the boy was prone to containment breaches, as it was capable of creating teleportation devices, but due to its tendency to return to its home, recontainment was easy. SCP-3293 was discovered when Foundation agents reported inexplicably high levels of radiation. This, coupled with an unexplained energy feedback from a specific home, allowed agents to quickly find the boy. Once in containment, the anomalous boy escaped on multiple occasions, either by creating a device to teleport out of the site, or by creating a device to brute force through security measures. Examples included an invisibility hat, a shrink gun, a warp blanket, and others. The parents were told that the boy was quarantined due to a rare disease, and after each breach, amnestics were administered. However, after several escape attempts that resulted in the boy being turned over to the authorities by his amnesticized parents, SCP-3293's emotional state deteriorated. This was made worse by the fact that it was restricted access to any objects it could use to create anomalies. Eventually, 3293 became hostile towards Foundation staff and began attacking any personnel who entered its chamber. This went on until one day, disaster struck. During a checkup, SCP-3293 hid behind the door. Using a ring of keys, the boy created a makeshift taser and knocked out both members. In panic, the boy attempted to create a device allowing it to escape and repeated "go home" while it worked. However, the resulting device began to hum excessively and glow brightly, resulting in a significant structural change in SCP-3293. The entity's limbs began to increase rapidly in length, and its skin began to slough off in several sections. Before additional personnel could enter, the device exploded, killing 3293 and the staff members. Why this device initially activated the way it did, and why it created the biological change in the boy remains a mystery. The story of SCP-3293 is definitely tragic, because although very dangerous and uncontrollable, the boy definitely didn't deserve such an ending. 3293 could have had a very bright future working for the Foundation, after all. Regardless, SCP-3293 reminds us of the wild dreams we used to have as children, and shows us how interesting the world would be if all our childhood dreams became a reality. This concludes part 2 of our top 5 SCP Children list. So what do you think? Which one of these children's properties was the most unexpected? And what would you rather be capable of? Creating machines like 3293 or making custom pets like 040? Let us know in the comments below. Please make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, as we have many more interesting SCP videos coming up. And if this video gets 6,000 likes, we will make part 3 of this video. And as always, we will see you in the next video.